want to say hi to all the people that love Star Trek, and you are a Trekkie. You love Star Trek. You've been to the convention, and Gene Roddenberry, and we want to take a look at war and how to avoid war. We have to learn to get along because we all have to live together on this planet. Live long and prosper, as Spock said. I am your tour guide. I am here to reminisce about Star Trek, the original Star Trek in the next generation, and even talk about the voyage, John Sisko, and the great people that you see behind me. Star Trek was a television show that shocked everyone when it came on television. First aired September the 8th, 1960. Actually, I wasn't even born, and the great people that assembled Gene Roddenberry, which was the creator of Star Trek. He was in the Air Force before that. He wrote a great script. It's actually like cowboys in space. You got the opportunity to go to new frontiers where no man has ever went before. And people that have never seen these faces, I'm going to tell you, what you see behind me is the USS Enterprise, which is a powerful vessel. And who knows, it may have influenced the United States' Space Force, and I think it did. And in front of me, in the blue, is Captain Kirk. Beam me up, Scotty, as he used to say. And there's Mr. Spock, who always said, that is not logical. But he had a human mother, and his father was a Vulcan. And Bones, the doctor, they always tried to make him do things, and he hated going inside of an energizer because he said, "Oh, you're materializing my body." He said, I'm not a killer. I'm a doctor." It's Scotty, the Scottish man, and you know what? A lot of people know that the Scottish are great engineers. They know this. They know this. And Star Trek influenced a whole lot of people, And I happen to be one of them. And behind him is Sulu. They once did a show where there was a balance of power when he had to fight Captain Kirk when he beamed over to the transporter had a problem. They had to beam him over, and he had to fight him. Trying to take control. You're like, oh, okay. And then we cannot forget Lieutenant Uhura, which people just don't know. She kissed Captain Kirk, and that was the first interracial. That was the first interracial kiss that took place on television. She was the communication specialist. And I forgot about Sulu. He was with navigation. And Chekhov was from Russia during that time. He had a Russian background. And I was so inspired by Star Trek. Perhaps there was a particular character that you loved on Star Trek. We will talk about Captain P. I can remember sitting with my father, sitting down, and you know what? Star Trek. And it was like a ritual. We would sit down, and you know what? These words that we the starship is on a mission to go across the galaxy and find things. And they found wonderful, wonderful things. I love Star Trek. Star Trek was beautiful. And like I said, again, the first time it aired, it fascinated so many people. And the franchise of Star Trek has just expanded. I'd like to know something. I look at some of these YouTube videos, and I always wonder, how do y'all happen to get footage of Star Trek? They CBN don't have any problems with YouTube. I'm going to figure that out one day, but it may be somebody that may be able to tell me. But the Star Trek franchise has made millions. Millions. I said, again, the first show came on September the 8th, 1966. And it was like a cowboy thing. It was, man. And Jim Tiberius Kirk was not the original captain of Star Trek. I gotta tell you, if you do a little research on that, it was Pike, Captain Pike. You know, when you first start a series, sometimes you want to make changes. You want to make changes. And Captain Pike, and what happened is, it was just his head. I don't know what happened to him. Captain Pike, one day I'm gonna get pictures of Captain Pike, and they took him back. Spock went back to the planet against the will of Starfleet Command. He somehow had the coordinates on the USS Enterprise to go back to Pike. These incidents where Pike got disformed, and it was like a machine that was carrying him around, and he had the ability to go back. And like I said, he almost faced court-martial. And you know what? It was very, very, very interesting. I'm talking about the first one. But do you remember Star Trek? Did you and your father watch it? Did you and your sister, your aunt, your uncle? Share some of those memories with me. Okay? And what I see is that the first TV show, first television station that Star Trek aired on was NBC. Okay, and back during that time, there were only 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 TV stations that were nationwide. Okay, you had NBC, you had CBS, and I think we had WGN, and I'm guessing, and NBC. And the thing is, it captured the imaginations of millions of people watching this show, because back during the Kennedy era, hey, we had a space race to try to beat the Russians to the moon. That was our, okay. And I was overpowered, and a lot of people just may not know. The original series was a set of franchise record. Okay, and they had advertisers that were out of this world. What was Gene Roddenberry thinking about? What was he thinking about when he assembled this cast? Because usually, when you have a cast of people with different nationalities, back during that time, it just wasn't feasible. It wasn't. But Gene Roddenberry proposed a science fiction named Star Trek that would be everlasting. It was like, me and my father used to look at cowboy pictures too. When people look at cowboy pictures, it was like the old West. But the thing is, they weren't in a wagon train going across, hitting these different galaxies and these different planets and visiting what's that? Planets and seeing different things. It's like a wagon, but the thing is, it was like being in space, and you got the opportunity to see a different species of life, different ways of life, but they had a prime directive that when you went to these different planets, you could not interrupt their way of life. You could not do that. But if you did, because if you interrupted their way of life, it could cause a disruption in the time continuum. Somebody asked me, man, why do you want to do a show on Star Trek? You know what? I want to do a show on Star Trek because you know what? On Facebook, I said this. I belong to some groups on Facebook that are associated with Star Trek. It's just so fascinating about it, and I visit so many YouTubers that are fascinated about Star Trek. Have you ever been to a Star Trek convention? You know what? I think have you been there? Did you enjoy yourself? Did you genuinely have a good time? Did you get the opportunity to meet Captain Picard, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, Michelle Nichols? Okay, did you get the opportunity? And if you did get the opportunity to meet these people, what were they like? What were they like when you met them? You know, Captain Janeway, I would like to meet her because I can say I appreciate things. And Cisco, I would like to appreciate. But I would say out of all of the characters that I liked on Star Trek, the original holds out for me. And the thing is, I probably before his demise, before he died, I would have liked to meet Leonard Nimoy. And you know what, Leonard Nimoy, for a lot of people that don't know, he also played in I Spy. It was a television show called I Spy, and I'm not gonna say I Spy. I think it was not I Spy. It was Mission Impossible. Okay, I'm getting that confused with another show, but he used to play in that, and I used to love that show. But I would like to meet these people, and I would like to ask people. There are people that go to these conventions, these Star Trek conventions. I mean, it's just overwhelming. There's just so many people. There's so many people. And the thing is, I always wondered, man, these uniforms, how much do these uniforms cost? How much? How much do they cost? How much does it even cost to get into these stuff? I'm a Trekkie. A Trekkie, what is a Trekkie? Trekkie is someone that loves Star Trek. And you know what? I gotta tell you something. Everybody out there that's listening to Star Trek, I've seen each and every one of them. But you ever look at something and you say, damn, I wanna see that again. And it's like I've looked at it over and over and over and over. You've got something that you looked at over and over and over and over and over again. And there were episodes that stuck out in my mind. And I think there was a Star Trek that was named The Balance of Power. And man, it was so interesting to me, the balance of power. What is the balance of power? What happened is that the Romulans, not the Klingons, the Romulans in USS Federation, they had no contact with each other for years and years and years, but they had a treaty.
Patrolling outposts guarding the neutral zone between planets Romulus and Remus and the rest of the galaxy received emergency call from Outpost 4. The USS Enterprise is moving to investigate and assist.
They had a treaty that no one could cross the neutral zone. Okay, but what happened is the Romulans, they crossed the neutral zone. Okay, I'd like to show you an example. Okay, they crossed the neutral zone. This is my ship. Yeah. Okay, and what happened is they destroyed an outpost on the Federation side. It was
Enterprise. Something coming on our viewing screen. Coming at us fast.
Lock us under your screen.
Switching. Can you see it, Enterprise? Can you see it? Becoming visible in the center of my screen.
they signed something that said that we will not do that. And what happened is Captain Kirk in a USS Enterprise ship and the crew had to make a decision.
The neutral zone established by treaty after the Earth-Romulan conflict of over a century ago. And only the Romulans know what they think of Earth. The treaty, set by subspace radio, established this neutral zone.
You know what? And the decisions that they made would impact the whole galaxy system. Interesting. So what happened is Captain Kirk, you know what? He had to make a decision.
My responsibility. We are proceeding into the neutral zone.
He had to make a decision over whether he was going to pursue or go after the Romulans and go over into their territory with the neutral zone that they had established, or just let them go. And you know what? It was like, you know what? It was a hard decision. And you know what? Captain Kirk, he assembled his crew, and they got together. And you know what? They sat down and they made a conscientious decision.
And if the Romulans are an offshoot of my Vulcan blood, and I think this likely, then attack becomes even more imperative.
War is never imperative, Mr. Spock.
It is for them, Doctor. Vulcan, like Earth, had its aggressive, colonizing period. Savage, even by Earth standards. And if the Romulans retain this martial philosophy, then weakness is something we dare not show.
Okay, and what happened is Mr. Spock said, his right hand man, he said one thing is, if we let the Romulans go back to the neutral zone, back to their territory, okay, what information about how they destroyed a outpost of the USS Federation, it could cause further conflict. Okay, and people don't stop it. Spock is the second one that's behind the individual that has the gold on. The individual that has the gold on is Captain Kirk. That's Captain Kirk. And what happened is he had to make a conscientious decision. But the man behind the guy with the pointy ears said, no, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to start? He told Captain Kirk, what are you trying to do? You're trying to start a whole nuclear galactic war over one outpost. Sort of reminds me of what's going on with Russia and what's going on with the United States of America. It sort of reminds me. So what happened is Captain Kirk, the first guy that's in the gold right here, he had to make a decision. And he said, you know what? As Mr. Spock, the second guy, said, if you let them go, it will cause further aggression. That is what he said. He said that. And you know what? I get it. You know what? In other words, that's like a bully. That's like a bully that just pushes you around. And the thing is, you let that bully get away with it, let the bully get away with it. Okay? He gets away with it. The bully gets away with it. Okay? And you know what? You said, man, I ain't gonna do nothing to the bully. I'm gonna leave that alone. But what it does is it makes that bully cockier, stronger, and then he goes on, or she goes on and does more. And that was the decision that was made. So, it was called the balance of power. And you know what? I enjoyed the balance of power. I love it. Because what happened is, Captain Kirk, he had to cross the neutral zone to pursue the Romulan ship, the Bird of Prey. That was the name of the ships of the Romulan. It was called, their battle cruiser with the Bird of Prey. He had to make a decision. And so what happens is, it was a cat and mouse situation. It was like a battle. And you know, and he caught Captain Kirk off guard by playing like he was dead. And he said, I won't make that same mistake again. Okay. And the thing is, what Spock was saying makes sense. The thing is, if we would have let them go back to Romulus, which is their home, where their home base is, after they destroyed a USS Federation outpost, it will cause further aggression. That is what he said. And the thing is, interesting. And then what happened is, Captain Kirk caught him by surprise. And killed the ship. And you know what? One day, once I learned how to get any information about that, let me know. But getting back to the balance of power, Captain Kirk, the Romulan captain told Captain Kirk something at the very end. The Romulan commander was only following orders. He was, as he said, he was a creature, a habit, and he had to follow orders. But he told Captain Kirk, something that stunned me. He said, we're creatures of duty. He said, if I would have met you another time, we could have been friends, because we're something like this. We're something like the same. We're both conquerors. And Captain Kirk said, he said, I'm going to self-destruct the Bird of Prey. I'm going to self-destruct, because he wanted self-destruct. I destroyed because he didn't want it to be a possibility of the Romulan vessel, a Bird of Prey, being captured, and intelligence, information, and technology is taken out of it. And he said, Captain Kirk asked him, what good will it do you doing this, destroying, killing yourself? What good? Hey, I got somebody in there. Star Trek. Oh, I love Star Trek too. Star Trek. Yes, it's the best. Star Trek is the best. Hey, but what happened is, so the balance of power, he told him at the very end, he said, well, I must self-destruct. And I think these are things that are going on, you know what, globally, you had to make decisions on whether you're going to fight now or fight later. And you know what? Captain Kirk made the decision to fight now, although Spock tried to talk him out of it, and Bones, which was the doctor, tried to talk him out of it. But being a captain, he had to make sure. And you know what? Another thing I think is an episode that I love on Star Trek. And you know something? It was called The Triples. I love the Triples. The Triples. What happened is Captain Kirk and his crew went for shore. Okay? And the triple was a little bally thing, a little ball of paper, and it was a creature that made sounds. And what happened is, I wish I had something to, not wish, I had something to describe, but the triples were, and what happened is, Harry Mudd, everybody knows who Harry Mudd was. Harry Mudd was a villain, but he was a beloved villain in Star Trek. He was. And what happened is, I believe he sold a triple, I think for a drink, to, I think, Michelle Nichols. Michelle Nichols, the people that don't know, Michelle Nichols was the communication officer of the USS Enterprise. And what happened is, the triples are cute. They're cute, they're nice, they want to rub it, but they wasn't crazy about Mr. Spock. So, I don't know. Captain, Mr. Spock is the second one behind the individual that has on the gold. The point it is. But the thing is, we took the triples back. They multiplied, they just multiplied. They had no idea that the triples multiplied so fast. But what happened is, they tolerated it, but then it got to a point the way, you know what, it was just too many triples. It was too many of these little balls that were like little animals that you could pet and take care of. They were cute, they were furry, and you know what, before you know it, darn it, because the way they reproduce, the whole ship, the whole almost, so they ate through the ships. They ate through the ship's food supply. And Captain Kirk said, we got to get them off. We got to get them off. And you know what? That was a fun episode. That was a fun episode for me. It really was. It was a fun episode. I enjoyed it. The triples. What was your favorite? What was your favorite Star Trek? You know, call me. Let me know. What was your favorite Star Trek? That was my favorite Star Trek. And it was one of my other favorite Star Treks. My other favorite Star Treks was, always leads back with Spock to me, because like I say, the Vulcan, I liked it. I liked the Vulcan. That always leads back to that. But what happened is, the Vulcan, the second person in line behind the guy in the gold, with the point it is, what happens is, he tried to divert everything that he could to divert the USS Enterprise back to Vulcan. That's where he came from. If people don't know Star Trek, you know, Spock was half human, and he was half Vulcan. But the thing is, he had to go back to his wife, because according to the Vulcan physiology, they have to mate, they have to mate and get together I forgot how many years. But the thing is, he didn't want to tell anybody. And what happened is, Leonard McCoy, Bones, what happened is, he talked to him, and he found out, and he told the captain, he told Captain Jim Kirk, you know what, we have to get back to Vulcan, because if Spock does not get back to Vulcan, he will die. And he said, I just don't understand. But the thing is, Spock would not even really explain it to him. And Captain Kirk, what he said was, hey, he said he wanted to go talk to Spock. He talked to him, they communicated, and he said, I must tell you something that it is a secret that we have amongst ourselves. Each Vulcan must go back, mate with his wife at a certain period. And if they do not mate with him, you know what? They will die. They will die. And he said, this is not known by your world. This is something that we keep to ourselves. And what happened is the captain in the gold, he said, how can this be? How can this be that you could die if you don't get back to T'Pring? And he didn't even know he was married to T'Pring. T'Pring was was Spock's wife on Vulcan. He didn't even know that. And the thing is, he said, how can this be? How can this be the way you would die? We've never heard of that. And the thing is, he said, you're a man. You're Vulcan. He said, you're Vulcan. That's not supposed to, you know what I mean? He said, he said, neither am I a man. I'm a Vulcan. And they're things that we don't talk about. So what happened is Captain Kirk, he said, us going back is like a salmon going back to spawn. They know they go back to spawn no matter where they go at, but they always come back during their lifespan. And the thing is, I have to get back. What happened is, Captain Kirk did everything that he could to get Spock back to Vulcan, to see his wife T'Pring, so they can go through their courtship and go through the rituals that go with the courtship. But there was a diversion that they said, and what happened is, Captain Kirk had told, okay, got something here. Are these things black people? Yeah, they're things that black people don't talk about. Yes. You know what? It's some things that some black people, they just choose to keep amongst themselves. Just like the Vulcan. Stop. Just like the Vulcan Spock. You know what? When he was dealing with the me going back to his wife T'Pring, you know what he said? There's some things that we just don't discuss. We don't discuss that. And what happened is, Captain Kirk could not get back because he had orders from Starfleet Command to go on with another mission. And he did everything in his power. Once he could not do that, and Bones, the captain said, you know what, the doctor said, he would die if he don't get back. And you know what? Captain Kirk, what he did was, he jeopardized his whole career. He jeopardized his whole career to get Spock back to Vulcan. Jeopardized it. He jeopardized it. For those that are just tuning in, you know what? We're talking about Star Trek. And you know what? What was your favorite Star Trek? This is a great franchise. And the people that you're looking at is Jim Kirk, who was the first one, Spock, okay, and Bones of McCoy, and you're looking at Scotty, Sulu, Nicole Nichols, which is intelligent. She did the communications, and Chekhov, Star Trek, he was the helmsman, and Sulu. What happened is, about condolences goes out to all of these things. This is really actually to attribute to all of these beautiful characters that played an instrumental role in making a great series. So what happened is, who was your favorite on Star Trek? My favorite was, I gotta say Spock. And people that don't know, the first interracial kiss that took place in space was with Captain Kirk and Lieutenant O'Hara. You know, very interesting, very interesting. But what happened is, Spock, for him to get back, Jim Kirk had made the decision, you know what, man, I'm going to jeopardize my career. We're going back to Vulcan because, you know what, I don't want to see Spock die, because the thing is, he's done so many things for me and he saved my life. Many times he saved his life. And what happened is they got back to Vulcan. And what happens is Spock beams down. I think he asked Captain Kirk and Bones to beam down with him because a challenge had been made. Because his wife, Dupree, had another suitor. He had another suitor. And the thing is, Spock is always gone for so long. You know what, some women, if you gone for too long, she got a problem with that. But you know what, a real one ain't gonna do nothing. You know, she's gonna stay loving. But this is science fiction, okay? And what happens, he beamed down, and what happened is she had another suitor that was a Vulcan. And you know what? She made a decision, a challenge. In Vulcan, the Vulcan society, you can make a challenge to stay married or not stay married. But the thing is, she didn't pick her suitor to fight with Spock. She picked Captain Kirk, which was strange because he had no connection whatsoever. But the thing is, she didn't want her suitor to get killed, okay, who was also a Vulcan, okay? And what happened is the POW explained things to Captain Kirk in the front. And what happened is, he's told Captain Kirk, you really don't have to make this challenge, but if you make this challenge by Spock's wife, it can be something else. But you know what happened is Captain Kirk had told Bones, the doctor, that how can I refuse the POW? The POW has made a request of me. How can I refuse? And he accepted the challenge to fight Spock for Dupree. He accepted the challenge. Yes, he did. And he accepted the challenge. Oh, all right. Thank you. All right. John, okay, thank you, John. And he accepted the challenge. And what happened is, when he accepted the challenge, and they rung something like a tambourine to symbolize that the fight is getting ready to start. But the thing is, when the POW said that this fight is to the death, you know, I know Captain Kirk said, to the death? What are you talking about? I thought this was just a test of strength, and he couldn't back out. He couldn't. It would have meant death. But Spock explained to the POW, who was the leader of the Vulcan society, the matriarch, that he does not understand our ways. He said he has accepted the challenge. Therefore, he cannot back out. Cannot back out. Star Trek cannot back out. So what happened is, Captain Kirk, he got to fight with Spock for Dupree. And what happened is, Spock is sort of warmed up, because what happened is, on Vulcan, the atmosphere is thin. And it is hot. It's hot on Vulcan. And what happens is, you know what, they had one round, and then the second round, Bones, the doctor, went to the POW and said, he can't take it. You know, Jim Kirk cannot take it in this atmosphere because the air is too thin. Can I give him a shot? And what happened is, the POW said, yeah, you can go ahead and give him a shot. But unbeknownst to the POW, McCoy, the third person behind the guy with the pointed ears, he gave him a shot. And what happened is Spock hit him. And what happened is that shot that he gave him made him fall unconscious. It was almost like he was dead. But what happened is his pulse has slowed down. And so it appeared as though what Spock had done to Captain Kirk, it appeared as though he killed him. And you know what? Spock had a very hard time with it. Okay. And then when it was over, he said, McCoy came to him, well, he said, I guess you killed the captain. I'll beam up to the ship. It's funny, I'll beam up to the ship and wait your orders. You are the captain now. You know. And then afterwards, he asked his wife to pray on Vulcan. He said, why did you make the challenge? Why? Why did you make the challenge for me to fight my captain? And here it is, your suitor over here. I knew if you killed my suitor, Vulcan, I would have nobody. But if you killed the captain, you would not want me. And I knew if the captain killed you, I would not want you. And if you did decide that you did want me, I knew that you would leave again. And I will still have, I think his name was Spong or Tong or something like that. I still will have Tong. You know what Spock told him? She said, I would have all of your possessions in your name, but I did not want to be married to a legend on Vulcan and be lonely. And Spock said, that is logical. And she looked right back at him and said, thank you. Okay. So what happened is Spock met with the pal who was the matriarch of Vulcan. It's a matriarch. Met with her. Not met with her. He told her in the end, she held her fingers up. I can't help my fingers up like Spock. And said, okay, got a call, and I hope it's about Star Trek. Yes, hello? 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 Yes. Yes, I can, yes. Okay, let me put you on speakerphone. Thank you. Because you know what? I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek too. Please tell us where you're calling from and what is your observation. Hello? Hello? Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what is your observation and what is your favorite Star Trek and who's your favorite character?
Okay, his name is Son, the character.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you. What did you think about that episode and what's your favorite?
That particular episode.
Mm-hmm.
That particular episode that you've been describing, the guy's name is Ston.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, her boyfriend, her lover, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, what did you think about that episode? And what is your favorite episode and your favorite character?
It's a good one. I like your, right on.
Okay. Hey, man, you know, I appreciate you calling. But what is your favorite episode and who is your favorite character?
Oh, man, that's a tough question.
Oh, come on.
Think about it.
Come on. You know what? With me, it's always been Spock. You know what? Because it's a part of me that can be like that. But it's a part of me that can be like Captain Kirk, too. Yeah. You know what? The balance of power was one that I loved. The balance of power. When the Romulans crossed the neutral zone, and Captain Kirk had to make a decision over whether to go follow them. I'd be an intergalactic war. I just let them go. and he knew. Well, you gotta have a favorite. You got a favorite episode, though, don't you? Hello?
I don't know. There are a lot of okay, I'll tell you one.
Okay.
I'll tell you one that I really like.
Okay. Ready. I'm ready.
Okay, there's an alternate universe.
Yeah.
And there's the whole other crew in this other universe.
Yeah.
And Spock has a beard.
Yeah.
He got like a goatee.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now there's these hidden cameras everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And they can in the captain's cabin, he got to monitor the viewer, and he can see private conversations, right?
Yeah.
That's the United States intelligence community. That's the CIA. They're listening.
Yeah.
Big Brother is listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got hidden cameras mounted in the acoustic tile ceilings back then in the 60s. This was in the early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a way to prevent culture shock.
Yes.
When the intelligence community reveals, because it's going to become known about these tiny cameras, and nowadays we have them in phones or our cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, see, if people found out about it, they wouldn't have any frame of reference, and then they would feel like slighted, like they were being conned all along.
Mm-hmm.
But if they release it in some science fiction TV show that has a lot of viewers, then it's going to become widely known. And then, if you know about it, and plus listening devices, if you watch the old sports shows,
Yes.
like where they show the Fab Four or the Fearsome Foursome,
Yes.
right? These
Yes.
guys like Rosie Greer and stuff, and they're playing football,
Mm-hmm.
and they hit really hard,
Yeah.
and they sit and they talk to each other across